Steve Rannazzisi, New York guy, but he's been in a lot of things. He's a Hollywood star now. What's happening, Steve? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. How is this? Man, 7 years. I mean, we always tend to say, boy, time flies. Boy, that really went quickly, huh? But in the case of this show, it feel like the concept seemed so fresh, which it was, but I feel like it was just introduced a couple of years ago. 7 years went by very quickly.
It does. Time flies when you're having fun and making really inappropriate jokes.
And making good money, too.
Yeah, it's true.
That helps.
It's been 7 years. It's crazy. I mean, when we first started the show, look, we knew that the comedy was there. We made each other laugh. And then football, is the most popular sport in America. So I just think that, with fantasy, with that element of it, and people really being able to get hands-on with teams, it's only helped our show, and it's gone hand in hand and become more and more popular.
Yeah, Steve, it's interesting because I think it's a lot of timing. Everybody says timing is everything, but fantasy football has been exploding over the last few years with, I think, roughly 40 million people playing it in this country. Have you guys learned by having, because you have like stars, actual NFL stars on the show, learned how to actually be fantasy football players, or is this kind of just making it up as we go along?
Well, we're a little bit of everything. We're making it up as we go along, but we also are learning some stuff. I played before we started doing the show, so I knew a little bit about it, but the other guys on the show had not played, so we started a league amongst ourselves on the show. And, of course, I thought I was going to clean up in that league, and I've never even won.
Nice.
Look, the ball's shaped strangely, as Tiki can tell you, and it bounces weird, so you never know what's going to happen. I just say, for me, it's like for fantasy football, look, we do the show about it, but I don't go as crazy as real people do, and they go nuts. They really they come up to me like, oh, we're just like you guys on your show. I'm like, that's not a good thing. You should not be like that at all.
Yeah, don't feel bad, Steve.
We're awful people on that show.
You know, I played the game, and I have yet to win a fantasy football league myself.
Yeah.
Here's what I wonder. I wonder if you guys have a league on the show, obviously, but do you do one off the show, like an actual one off the show?
I have one with my buddies from high school that I've done for the last now 13 years, and I've won that one, but never won the one that's really in my mind right now counts.
Who's your go-to guy?
What, for draft picks?
Yeah.
I mean, this year it's different. This year I usually go running back in my first two rounds. I'm probably going to go maybe wide receiver, or maybe just one running back. I feel like that you can get a steal later on in the later rounds with running backs. I think there's only like 5 or 6 real elite ones, and beyond that, it kind of levels off after that.
Well, you know what, Steve, you're right, because what happened when this was first introduced, and like you, I've been doing it for a while, some success, some brutal seasons, injuries, the whole gamut, from good to the worst, to a doormat. But for a while, it was got to get the quarterback, Now there's been a little shift here, and people are finally catching on. Hey, there's 20 guys who throw for over 3,000 yards. So get one of those guys.
4,000 yards at this point.
Well, yeah, true. Get one of those guys in the middle rounds. Get a position where there's a premium, or I should say a dearth of explosive numbers like running back. I think that's a sound philosophy. But are you one of these guys? Are you a trendsetter? Because these people annoy me. Like, there's always one guy in the league that takes the kicker a little bit early, takes the defense a little bit early, and it forces the whole room to kind of reassess what's happening in their mental war room. You know that kind of person, right?
Yeah, the wild card. The guy
always
that's
the wild card.
That's going to just do whatever they want to do and go rogue. Look. You know what? Let them do what they want to do. They may have a solution that you don't know about. My thing this year is like if I see a friend that isn't picking a quarterback real early, that means in my mind they're going for Tom Brady in a later round, and that means I'm going to pick up Tom Brady before them and really put the screws in them. That's my goal this year, is to try to find the person to try to sniff out Tom Brady in a later round.
So you want to win, and you basically want to take on a dump on him in the process as well.
Exactly.
I understood.
Why not? Two birds with one stone.
I like it. Steve Rannazzisi is with us here on CBS Sports Radio. Tiki and Tierney, as the league is coming to an end. 7 years, final season this year on FX. Now, the whole thing with – let's get to Eli for a second, because I'm fascinated. The way Eli Manning is positioned by some, there are some – and Steve, by the way, for the record, is a devout Giants fan. He's from New York, and he lives in L.A. as well, but he's got Giant roots here.
It makes your fantasy football picking interesting, I bet.
Well, no.
To your question, I think you're going to ask, it makes it interesting.
Actually, I want to let Steve talk, but you can't let the internal, that little boy in you direct you on the draft board. You got to put that aside, and I'm sure you do, right?
No, when you walk into the Buffalo Wild Wings to do your draft, which is where you should do your draft, by the way.
Look at this
that's
guy.
Where they have all the Wi-Fi, the food, the beer, the atmosphere. When you get in there, you sit down and you say to yourself, which players are going to help me win this year? And then you pick those players and you watch the whole thing crumble, because after that it's all downhill from there. So to me, when I look at a guy like Eli Manning, I just hope that offensive line this year has really kind of got itself solidified. And I think that he has the tools around him to have a really great year. Do I think he's going to be the top 5 quarterback? Probably not. This year my sleeper in quarterbacks is Ryan Tannehill. I think he's got a lot of real good weapons down in Miami. So I think at the end of the day he'll have the best overall stats as far as fantasy is concerned and quarterback.
Steve, I know we got to let you go, but what's your top running back? Tell me who I should
Adrian
take.
Peterson.
Tell me who I should take.
Yeah,
but if you're not one or two, you're not getting them.
My number one running back, if I'm taking the first guy out of the gate, is Adrian Peterson.
There's no doubt.
I just feel like his body's been, he's saved his body the last year.
I'm going 83 catches with Le'Veon Bell and 15
Le'Veon Bell,
yards.
yes, with 2-game suspension, it's not the worst second choice either.
You're right.
Yeah.
Steve, we know you're jumping around.
You.
Pardon me, T. We know you're jumping around doing some stuff today. Congrats on a phenomenal run. Admittedly, I caught on to the show 2.5 years into it, and it's been a staple. Well done. Congrats on a great run, and have a good season, man.
Thank you, guys.